Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for November 16th, 2025. We do keep additional graphics at tpatw.com, and we have educational videos on amazon.com for those who shop Amazon. Looking at our surface map for Sunday, we do have a very long frontal system stretching all the way from Dallas to Atlanta, with high pressure really pushing through much of the central portions of the country. But notice to the west a large meandering and rather unorganized series of low pressure centers stretching all the way from the coast into the central Rockies. We also have that retreating low pressure center here in New Brunswick, and note that we're talking about snow. That four-letter word, from the Michigan Upper Peninsula across Upper Michigan, picking up portions of northwestern Pennsylvania, much of upstate New York, and on into New England. Looking at our vitality index, which is a composite of all of the weather elements that might trigger some kind of health risk for people that are sensitive, we have a significant portion across most of the western third of the country, but very, very intense up here in northern Idaho, portions of Montana and Washington State. And note we're picking up much of Vancouver. We also have a very significant area here from the middle Mississippi Valley across the Ohio Valley, picking up the Great Lakes, making it on into upstate New York, then a small break, and then back up, picking it again here as we get into New England. Interesting little look here in Georgia. Looking at pressure change, and this is one of the issues that impacts many individuals. We have rising pressure here across central into northern California. We have rising pressure here in the Mississippi Valley from Missouri up through Minnesota, cutting across the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes from Michigan all the way over to the westernmost portions of Pennsylvania and New York. But we have falling pressure, a large area of falling pressure from Vancouver in Canada across Calgary in the United States down to Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana. Jumping to the east, we're picking up falling pressure here from Connecticut, clear on up through upstate New York, but really significantly here in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, stretching on into New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Looking at temperature change, and at this time of the year, it's always temperature change, and it always seems to be falling, and we're going to see some falling temperatures here, Northern California, into Nevada, down into New Mexico and Arizona. Significantly falling temperatures across the middle Mississippi, Ohio Valley, and note significantly sharply falling temperatures from Kentucky into Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and up into upstate New York, picking up portions of western Pennsylvania. A nice little bump in temperatures here in southeastern Canada, and picking up just touching on Maine and on into New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Excuse me, looking at dew point temperature change, it pretty much reflects what we've been talking about, falling dew point temperatures here in the Northeast, but very interesting rising dew point temperatures here in Georgia and rising dew point temperatures up through Arizona on into Utah. Vapor pressure shows much the same, but we get a better idea of the flow with vapor pressure, showing the way that the dew point temperature is either rising or falling, coming off the Pacific and swinging on up into the southwest. Excuse me. Looking at POI, our measure of oxygen in the atmosphere, we have a migraine risk with rising availability of oxygen in the atmosphere across California, just touching the southernmost sections of Oregon, almost all of Nevada, and picking on up into Arizona, and a little bit going up into Utah. Significant area of migraine risk here from Dallas, cutting across Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas, and on up into Minnesota. and then moving east, stretching all the way from Oklahoma across all the way to North Carolina and north, up through upstate New York, picking up all of the Great Lakes. And we do pick up a lot of the Canadian cities here from Windsor to Montreal. Looking at asthma risk, we have an asthma risk along the northern border of Canada and the United States from Washington State across Montana into the Dakotas. We do have an asthma risk here from San Antonio up to Austin, moving on into Shreveport, and then across the coastal areas from southern Alabama, southern Georgia, very significant there in southern Georgia and northern Florida. And then we have another area of asthma and arthritis risk here in New England, running from Connecticut, Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, and on into Maine, and once again on into New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Thanks for visiting The Patient and the Weather today. Your comments are appreciated. If you hurt, let us know where you're located. And remember, if you do shop Amazon, we have educational videos there.